So the posh name for my job is consultant child and adolescent psychiatrist. But what that means on a day-to-day basis is I work with a range of people up to the age of 18, 19 who have various mental health problems. So it might be depression, anxiety, suicidal thinking, deliberate self-harm. It's about trying to find them a way to get through life, give them resources that they can use to manage their emotional problems and generally get them to a better place. So one of the reasons why I work with young people is that with young people there's always more sense of hope in that you really think you might be able to do something better for them, give them strategies that they can use and give them things that will get them into adulthood and give them a better course through life. With adults there's less sense of hope as many of them have really chronic mental health problems that are difficult to address. So young people do feel more hopeful. So in terms of a pandemic, there was talk about one happening at some point, but I guess this one came up quite quickly out of the blue, and how we were going to cope as individuals and as a community was quite difficult to predict. But I think that things in general are working out quite well, although who knows whether we've got the right strategy in this country. And we were thinking about how it would impact upon people's mental health. Obviously there's been lots in the media and the press about how it might affect people. And as clinicians, we knew that on an individual basis, some of our patients, our clients would really struggle. So there have been two groups, I think, that have been noteworthy. The first were young people who already thought that the world was a threat and already were worried about what might happen. So for them, their worst nightmare has come true in that suddenly there was something tangible that they needed to be scared of, and they have really shut down and needed considerable amount of therapeutic work. For the second group, they were worried about going out the front door, they were worried about going to school and interacting with other people, and suddenly they no longer had to do that. So there is definitely a group where their mental health has improved and where they are finding life a lot easier. I don't know what will happen when they do then have to go back to school, but certainly for them the pandemic and the lockdown has been easy. As a team, we were worried about what would happen in the prison. Our boys were previously going to education 6 hours a day, they were meeting people, they were mixing, they were seeing each other, which was really, really important for them. And suddenly they're now locked up 23 hours out of every 24. So they were allowed out for 20 minutes of exercise and 20 minutes of association where they can talk to each other. And this has meant that for some of them their world has completely collapsed. They can't have face-to-face contact with their families, they can only phone them, they can't even video call them. So there has been an increase in some young people's suicidal thinking. Some of them have got really depressed and felt isolated. We're working with the suicidal ones very closely because we're trying to help them get through what is a really difficult time. And sometimes boys just contact us and ask to talk to someone because they're feeling so isolated. So there's lots that we can do, even though it's more difficult for us to do it. In terms of my own mental health, well, in order to do my job I have to be fairly robust, so I tend to cope with most things and I don't overtly show what the stress and what the difficulties are. But clearly lockdown has meant lack of contact with people that I love and a change in how I live my day-to-day life. But in general, I think things are feeling easier and I think we'll get somewhere in the near future where life feels a little bit more back to how it should be. Do I think that our way of life has changed forever? I think it would be nice to believe that the people next door and the people down the road and the people in neighbouring areas were going to be kinder and more gentle on each other, and that people were going to put each other first in a way that they haven't done probably for many, many years. But in reality, is that likely to happen, or do you think we'll just drift back to how we were with most people prioritising what they want and making sure they get what they want, rather than thinking about the people next door? I think it's impossible to tell at this point in time, but it would be good to think that the world had changed for the better.